First of all, welcome to VertiChat with Mads. Joining me today is an actor who brings raw honesty to every role. Acting isn't about pretending, it's about truth, emotion, and connection. Dan Milam brings all three to every role, making each performance feel unmistakably real. Dan, thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thanks for having me. That was so nice what you just said. Wow, I feel like I'm blushing right now.
You are a little bit.
Yeah, just a bit, right?
It's all heartfelt. But no. First of all, can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
Oh gosh, I can tell you a lot about myself. What do you want to know? I'm originally from Virginia, like outside of Washington, D.C. So I grew up on the East Coast of the States. Cool place to grow up. I enjoyed it. I went to college for animation, so I got a degree in animation. Um, I thought I would, I don't know, be a famous cartoonist or something, or have my own cartoons. I was obsessed with like the 90s Nicktoons on Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network and stuff. So I was like, yeah, I really want to do that. So I went and got a degree in that. And when I graduated, that industry kind of collapsed, which was cool. So I like did a life pivot. And then this entire time I was playing music as well. I was in like a bunch of bands like post-hardcore and pop punk bands and playing guitar and singing. And yeah, then I decided to focus on music and I did that for a bit. And then the last band I was in, which was like a really fun pop punk band, broke up and it was heartbreaking. And I was living with a buddy at the time who happened to be a writer and director. And he was working as a camera operator on like a home renovation show for HGTV, which is like a big, like the number one home renovation channel in the States. And uh, yeah, I was living with him and he was like, "Hey man, you're like a pretty decent actor," because we had like shot a short film together or something. And he was like, "You're pretty good looking and like a pretty decent actor." He was like, "You should just like move to Los Angeles and be an actor." And I was like, "All right. Yeah, I'm not really doing anything else with my life right now. It beats sitting around." So I threw my guitars and my amp in my car and some clothes and an Xbox and I drove to Los Angeles and became an actor. And that's where we're at now, you know. So it's been 10 years since I did that. Yeah. I mean, what else
Trying
is
to
that?
download all of that information.
Was that a lot with that?
I tried to I don't even know how to explain it.
It was a lot, wasn't it?
I was having a look through your Insta to look for inspiration because I didn't want to directly ask you.
Yeah.
But oh, I didn't get half of that though.
No, no, I'm a pretty private person. I don't really put much of my life up on Instagram, at least not anymore.
But no, I was just doing general research to be like, what do I ask you?
Did that like explosion of information give you some new questions to ask?
I was like writing stuff down. I'm like, he's talking too fast.
I'll slow it down for you next time.
Like I had you were in music bands. Can you tell me more?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't- Hmm?
Gosh, I started playing piano when I was 5 years old. Um, my mom forced me to take piano lessons. She was like super into that for whatever reason. And I hated it. I had horrible, horrible piano teachers. I had one lady who was really nice. She was like the last piano teacher I had over the course of from like age 5 until I think 12. But she was like the last piano teacher I had. I think I took 2 or 3 lessons with her, and then I was like, yeah, this is not for me. And I got a guitar at that time too. And so I moved from piano to guitar, and I wish I was like some incredible guitarist, but like I'm like a decent rhythm guitarist, you know, but I think an okay songwriter. and a decent rhythm guitarist. But yeah, I got a guitar when I was 12 and just focused on music kind of from then on out, like pop punk and skateboarding. That was like kind of my life and snowboarding. So I was like, yeah, I'm a punk, while still wearing Gap and
Very
yeah,
contrast.
very. Yeah, it was a very stark contrast. No, and then the skateboarding led me down to, I was allowed to buy like skateboarding brand clothes and, skate shoes and stuff, and I stopped wearing Gap. Uh, which, no shade on Gap. It's just not my personal aesthetic. So
None at all anymore.
yeah.
Oh God. No, I've got to reorganize my questions now. Hold on. I didn't know if you were like acting or music first. One of them was like, yeah, were you acting before or after your time in music?
Well, kind of the same time, actually. My mom was pretty heavily involved in theater when she was younger, and she worked at a very famous theater in Washington, D.C. called Arena Stage. So that's always been one of her passions, and she tried to get me and my sisters involved as well. And so I think I was maybe 7 or maybe 8 when I did my first play in Washington, D.C. I was Mustard Seat in A Midsummer Night's Dream. So yeah, that was the my first bit of acting, and I loved it. And then from that, I did like a little bit of modeling as a kid for Washington Post magazine. So the Washington Post is a big newspaper, and they had a magazine for a little while. I'm aging myself here. But yeah, I did some modeling for that when I was a little kid. And then yeah, from there I don't know, I got away from acting and theater and was more involved with music.
And your friend sent you back to acting.
Yeah, so yeah, he did. When I was in the last band I was in, we shot a couple music videos and I really loved sitting down with my bandmates and coming up with the story and the concept and then pitching it to the director and then shooting it because it was just like, a fun big party with friends basically. And I was like, man, I really like this is really fun to do. I forgot how much I enjoyed acting, even though it was, just a ridiculous over the top music video. And yeah, so that kind of like reignited a little bit of the passion. And then when I was living with my buddy and he had directed kind of like a live music video that we had done for one of our songs. And my buddy Alex, Alex Evans, a little shout out to Alex. But yeah, he was like, no, man, like you should go into acting, I think. And I was like, all right, well, not doing anything else, so why not?
But like, why verticals?
Why verticals? I mean, that's a simple answer to that. It pays my bills, you know. Honestly, like so I moved to LA in 2015 and got a manager pretty quickly. Got a lot of really cool auditions, booked some like smaller indie projects, some student films, all the stuff that you're supposed to do. Went and did like background work on big shows. And I was like, yeah, cool. This is definitely what I want to be doing. And in like 2019, I had auditioned for this Western and was like super, super excited for it. And like it was maybe the end of 2019, maybe beginning of 2020. And I did this audition and I got a call back and I went back in person and like I killed the call back. I was like, oh yeah, I definitely like I killed that. And I just never heard back from the project. And I was so bummed because I thought I just had this amazing audition. And COVID happened and everything like shut down. And then I want to say maybe like 5 or 6 months after I had done this in-person audition, I got a call from the casting director apologizing profusely. And she was like, they loved you. It was just COVID happened and it shut down all of our productions. and we were trying to figure out a safe way to shoot, you know, without like there hadn't been COVID guidelines really yet that had come out. And so she was like, you know, we're trying to figure out how to shoot this thing and do it safely. But you have the part if you want it. And I was like, yeah, cool, perfect, I'll take it. And it was like a 2 episode recurring thing. I was the bad guy in this Western. And we ended up shooting it at we shot at the end of 2020 in like full blown COVID lockdown. And me and the other guys, the other leads, Jack and Jesse and Dade, the four of us, and Poria, five of us were kind of sequestered from the rest of the cast. And they kind of just kept everybody away from us. And, you know, at the end of filming every day, the five of us would just drive to our respective homes, go to sleep, wake up the next morning. Like we were not seeing anybody. We were just, even the first 2 weeks before we were filming, I was like sequestered in my apartment, and my wife was sequestered with me, my girlfriend at the time. So I was like, you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. Like, I cannot get COVID before filming. Uh, so long answer, very long. I started out doing like indie films and TV and stuff, and COVID kind of just shut everything down for a while, and then the strikes happened in Hollywood, and that shut a lot of things down. And so the auditions, just when that happened, when the writer's strike happened, and then the SAG actor strike happened, just so many things were shut down, and you know, people were being dropped from their rosters, from agents and managers. There just wasn't enough work to go around. And then the verticals popped up, and I was lucky enough to be advised by some friends to have not joined the union. So I was still able to do the verticals because they were all non-union work. And yeah, that popped up, and I was like, well, I got to pay my bills. And the first project I did was for Pocket FM. And so I was like, cool. And the script was pretty good, and the director was awesome. I had like a meeting with him before doing it. And the casting director for that was a woman who had called me in for like a bunch of like indie film projects beforehand. Um, and the producer was super nice. She was great too. And yeah, they kind of brought me into that first one, and they shot it vertically, horizontally, and in one like square format all at the same time. Because like they didn't really know if the vertical format would take off because it was so early in the days of it. It was like early 2023 when this shot. So they were like, yeah, we don't really know where this is going to go. So we're going to try to shoot it as universally as we can and see what happens. And then the vertical format took off, and that one led to a bunch of the rest. So, you know, it's like I would rather be cast and work than, you know, not work at all. So
That literally answers my next question. It was like, how long have you been doing them for? Like,
yeah, since 2023. I've tried to be selective though. Like I've been offered a bunch that the scripts don't speak to me in any way, or it's just like a really horrible villain who just says or does horrible things, and like, and no, won't do that, won't agree with it. Um, I played the villain a couple times, and yeah, it's one of those. It's like, no, we're good with that. We don't need to do that anymore. You know what I mean? So
I can understand that.
yeah.
But my next question is like a little bit, it's like out of order, but like
Mhm.
I
Go for it.
looked at your Instagram, so I have to ask. I saw you're a Pokemon fan.
Yeah, I'm a huge Pokemon fan.
Psyduck is your favorite?
I do love Psyduck. Psyduck is probably my second favorite.
What?
Yeah.
Who takes precedent?
Yeah. My favorite is Vaporeon or Eevee. Any of the evolutions.
No. No, Psyduck's
Did
mine.
I just Psyduck's your favorite? Did I just shatter your entire world just now
I
because
was like,
Psyduck's
we
not my
could be
favorite?
twins.
No, I do love Psyduck. If Vaporeon didn't exist, I love dogs and I like water Pokemon. So Vaporeon kind of fit for me. I have a dog named Evie, so she's a sweetheart. She's in the bedroom right now, so she doesn't interrupt this. But yeah, the evolutions are just, you know, they're hard not to beat. But Psyduck is also incredible.
My favorite evolution is Umbreon. But
Oh, that's what my dog looks like, an Umbreon.
really?
Yeah, yeah. We like to, she's a little, she looks like a very skinny black lab, but she's not a black lab at all.
I like grass Pokemon, but my favorite Pokemon's a water Pokemon.
It makes no sense.
I know. Well,
I mean, go figure.
if it was to be like, I don't know. I yeah. I
But
like.
Psyduck is incredible.
I love Oddish.
Oh, Oddish is, yeah, I call him Toddish.
Why? He's
I just
literally
think,
an onion or a radish or
yeah,
whatever.
but isn't Todd the perfect name for an Oddish?
You've got me thinking about that
I
now.
I just feel like if I were to see an Oddish in real life, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's a Todd for sure. You know?
Well, in Australia, everything here ends with like Y, like IE. It's like E.
Yeah.
It'd be like toddy.
Yeah, Toddy.
We didn't just do that.
See, I'll like do an Aussie accent, but it'll come out as like Kiwi is essentially what's gonna happen. My favorite my favorite phrase is fair income.
What? We
Fair
barely.
income.
Not many people say that anymore.
It's a great phrase. It's so good. I say it all the time.
Like fair income.
Fair income, mate.
Can you tell me more about your most favorite role so far and your most challenging role so far?
Oh, favorite role so far. Um, Specifically vertical. Hmm. It hasn't come out yet. Um, but I just shot one like 2 months ago in China with Mariah Boone. And she and I had worked together before. We played like brother and sister. And this one we were romantic interests. But I don't know how much I can say about the project itself just because it hasn't come out yet. But that one was an absolute blast to work on. I was so horrendously sick during filming. I got the worst food poisoning of both of us. We just got food poisoning on like day 2 or 3 of shooting, and just spent the next like 5 days not drinking water or eating any food on set because we would just get so violently ill if we did. Um, so getting through that project, very proud of that. It was the script was fun. Working with her was a blast. She's just so much fun to work with. She's such a great actor. Um, yeah, I think the two of us did a lot of like really cool character work in that. So I'm excited to see it when it finally comes out. But that one is probably the one I'm most stoked for. And then hardest one, I bought one in Vietnam a couple weeks ago, and I almost didn't take the project. Just it was a very heavy subject matter about the accidental death of a daughter being left in a car. And I don't know. I wasn't sure if like verticals were the right place for that story to be told. So I was pretty wary of it. Um, but I agreed to read the script before I made my decision. And so they sent me the full script and I read it, and it didn't feel as exploitative as I thought it was going to be. And it really seemed like it was a pretty good message for, being present and aware and the dangers of leaving a child or, an animal in a car on a hot day, even if you think everything is fine. And in the script, it's like it's a complete accident that it happens. And so yeah, after reading the full script, I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think this is, a story worth telling. But it was just such an emotional shoot. There was a lot of crying for my character as well as the female lead, who's kind of like getting gaslit the whole time. And I'm unaware of everything that's happening because I'm being strung along by another person and lied to. So yeah, that was just a hard shoot just because it was so I think out of the it was only a 6 day shoot, and I think I had to cry on 5 of the 6 days, just tears pouring down my face. It was rough. It was a rough shoot, but I don't know. Hopefully it comes out well. We'll see. I have no clue, but yeah, that was a hard project. Just the subject matter was really tough, and the little girl that played the daughter was just the biggest sweetheart in the world, and she was so good. She was such a good actor, and she had such an awesome work ethic. Yeah, she was awesome. So, and my co-star in that, Mars, she was incredible too. So, we got to kind of lean on each other just with how heavy the script was. It was just like, oof, this is brutal, So like she's doing a scene where she's crying, and I would just be standing off to the side. They'd call cut. I'd be like, here's a tissue, like here's some tea, and she'd do the same thing for me. So
I was gonna ask like if it was like that emotionally heavy, or like did you guys have like an outlet before like or after the shooting day, or did you just get through the whole project and then
no, yeah, we got through it, and I was literally the next, like, I wrapped, and the next morning I was on a flight back to Los Angeles. Yeah, no, there was no outlet for that. It was just like show up, do the job, be emotionally drained. It took me like a week and a half after that project was over just to kind of like get back to a normal state of being, because it was just such an intense script.
that would have shook me to the core. Ugh. No, it is a lesson that needs to be taught because people
Yeah, yeah,
do it.
yeah. It's definitely a good lesson, and it was also a lesson for me, as an actor to, you have to figure out ways to kind of like protect yourself, and you have to do those like really deep emotional things, and like kind of be careful where you draw that emotion from when giving that performance. And yeah, I was really just trying not to go like to too dark of a place while shooting it, because you want to be able to pull yourself out and have fun and be okay for the other scenes that you're shooting. And but we had such a great cast, and everybody was always constantly checking in on one another to make sure we were all okay. And so when I got back, I was able to just like relax, decompress, you know, not do much of anything, just hang out with my wife and dog and just be like, all right, we're good.
I got a few more like questions that have to do with like emotion. So I might like,
Yeah.
but they're out of order, so I might just like skip ahead and
Yeah, you're fine.
um, which emotion do you find the hardest to portray authentically on camera?
I think being scared. I think being scared is probably for me the hardest one to portray, because I don't really get scared too often. And I'm a pretty calm, even keeled, level headed person. Uh, so if there's like a monster or something trying to chase after, like, I don't know, in real life I would just probably turn around and fight it and die. Like, I don't know, okay, this is gonna happen, and whatever happens. I'm probably gonna die, but I'll fight the monster, whatever it may be, or ghost or serial killer. So yeah, I think for me, I think the hardest one to portray is fear. But I think joy comes pretty easily because everybody is really happy. And I don't know, when you become adult, you don't really get much practice with fear as you get older. You know what I mean? And when I was a little kid, if I was ever afraid of something, I kind of just avoided it so I wouldn't have to feel that, feeling. So like trying to like draw back on something, like find like a past memory of where I was like afraid, it's kind of like a harder thing for me to do too, to use that substitution. So, because everybody, you have constant moments of joy or anger or sadness as you get older, but I think fear is maybe the one that happens the least.
And then the next one, like, sort of leads into that is do you ever draw from real life memories to fuel a scene, or do you prefer to stay in the imagination?
Yeah. There are certain memories I have that um I'll draw from for a scene. Um Generally, if like I need to cry, or something, or if I need to be whatever level of sad, um, I won't. Um, I think it's just healthier mentally for me in the long term not to pull from previous trauma or, deaths in my family or friends or whoever. It's just, I'd rather not pull on that. And then, because it's much harder to pull yourself out of it. Um, and that can, if you can't and you have to go shoot like a really fun scene right after, you're going to hold up production, or they might have to reshoot it or whatnot. So for me, um, most of my emotions I try to just like have live within the reality of the character, but that's still something that's been made up in my mind. If that Does that make sense? But if I really, really need to, there are certain things that, like certain memories of mine, that I will go back and draw on if I have to. But it's more rare.
Like I was really skeptical to ask that question, but like you sort of like touched on it, like when you were saying like which one was the hardest to portray.
Yeah.
So it's a leading question. It's just
Yeah, no, I feel you. And yeah, emotions are, I don't know. Acting with emotions I can understand those actors who have to use substitution for something from their own life to get there. Like I totally get it. It makes a lot of sense. Um, I think, just for me personally, and when I first started acting, I did that. I would use substitution. And then I was in an acting class, and my amazing, wonderful teacher, Carlo Rosati, um, was talking to us about substitution versus creation of memories for emotion. And she just made a really wonderful point that like it's easier on your soul, I think, when you use your imagination versus substitution of those memories. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Let's try and, figure out how to do that so that I'm not, potentially holding up a production in the future. But some people are really good at just using substitution and then just like letting it slide off their backs, and just going right into the next scene. Um, and there's, I don't know, however many different methods of acting, and everybody has their own unique method of what they want to do, even if they are a quote unquote method actor. Um, I just know for me, it's kind of like a light switch. When they're like, okay, let's get ready for the scene, I flip the switch and I'm my character. And the moment they call cut, I flip the switch and I'm back to me again. And the easiest way for me to maintain that is to just have everything be uh, imaginary rather than conflating my own life with it. Because I think that's when it gets harder for me to turn that switch off. Um, but I think if you're a decent actor, it shouldn't matter if you're using substitution versus any other process to get where you need to get to emotionally. I mean, I've worked on things where I have felt so sad and was truly 100% feeling that emotion for whatever reason in the scene. And the director has called cut and come up and been like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm doing the scene like I'm sad," you know. And they're like, "No, it doesn't come off that way. Like, let's figure something else out." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. Show me the playback," and I'll watch the playback and see, watch what I'm doing. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I come off just, I look angry. I don't look like I'm sad in any capacity. I just look really angry. Yeah, let's adjust that. You know what I mean? So even though you might be 100% feeling it, whether it's, substituting your own real memory or creating a fake one, it might not even look like that. So I think, the best process is just whatever works, whatever gets the shot, whatever works for you. And sometimes what you think is working for you and you're feeling it is not working for the camera, so I guess really whatever works for the camera.
that's really the best way to explain it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What does authenticity mean to you in a performance?
Oh, that's a great question. uh I mean, it's acting, so I really don't think that, I don't know, this that's a That's a good question. I want to say that acting doesn't lend itself to authenticity. If you are authentically something in a scene, you're not acting at that point. Do you know what I mean? You're living. And I think that that's kind of what every actor strives for, to be so comfortable with the dialogue, with the blocking, with the script, with the lights, with 50 people, watching you, mic strapped to your leg that's cutting off the circulation, whatever it may be, or digging into your lower back. You know what I mean? Like everybody, I think actors strive to be absolutely authentic. Uh, but I don't know, it's acting. Like acting is not authentic because you are not getting chased by a monster. You're not actually being stabbed. You're, so it's, I don't know. I think it's they're like, to be an actor and to be authentic are two competing ideas. And I think you have, like, when you watch like Tom Hanks or Vince Vaughn in like a comedy or a romance movie, right? They are authentically themselves in those things. They're not really having to act all that much. They are being themselves and they're authentic and comfortable, and everything out of their mouths sounds authentic because it's all within the realm of their reality, you know. Whereas if you have, somebody playing Superman or Batman, or being chased by, you know, a giant 8-foot monster with knives for hands. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's not realistic in any capacity. You can hope to find an authenticity to in your within yourself to portray that scene with as much realness and authenticity as possible. But I don't know. Is this making any sense? Or am I just a rambling lunatic at this point?
No, you are making sense. I am following along. I am following along.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah, I don't
I
know.
completely understand. Yeah.
I think certain scripts, certain characters allow for authenticity and others don't. And you have to try to figure out a way to find that authenticity within yourself so that it comes out on screen when you are acting, so that it doesn't appear as if you are acting. Does
Yes, yes.
that sounds, there's an answer in there somewhere.
Like you were like, I was, because you said that you were like genuinely feeling the moment, and like you obviously didn't look sad. You looked angry. So it's like how, because you're being authentic in like
yeah,
the way that you were trying to portray that, and it didn't come across as that. So
yeah, and I think that's why authenticity and acting are in like a direct competition with each other. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could be absolutely authentic in your feelings. And I mean, that happens in everyday conversation. Like, I might ask my wife to, like, hey, could you grab me that cup over there? Could you bring me my glass of water? And I am authentically feeling a completely different emotion because I'm like frustrated over an audition or something that I'm having to do, and the deadline is coming and I'm stressed out over it. And authentically feel love for her and appreciation for her bringing me my glass of water. But that feeling of frustration comes out in my voice and it has nothing to, you know what I mean? And so it's like, she'll be like, hey, that was rude. I'm like, what are you talking about? I asked you to grab me a glass of water. What? And she'll be like, no, your tone was not. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Like, I was feeling this. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, authentically, I was asking a polite question, but it came out with something else entirely. And I think that's what acting, what can happen in acting. You can authentically feel something, but the camera picks up something entirely different. And so in that sense, like, authenticity sometimes cannot serve you, as it can kind of betray you as an actor. Um, yeah, what a weird, that was a really deep question. I don't know. I'm going to think about that for a long time now.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's good. It was a great question. Oh yeah, half the time communicating with people, you're trying to convey one thing and not convey something else that has nothing to do with them. Do you know what I mean? And you just hope that those little bits of stress from the rest of your life are not leaking out into other relationships.
That's where it gets hard.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, when looking for new roles, what do you look for in a script and what do you try to stay away from?
Oh, that's a loaded question. Um, I think when I first started with verticals, I just wanted to be cast. I just wanted to work because it was like such a rough time for the industry in general. So I was just kind of like, oh, wonderful, whatever's out. And I was just blindly submitting myself to things, or my manager was blindly submitting me to just whatever, because like, I have to pay my bills. Um, and I got very lucky with like the creative teams and the ones that I did book in the beginning. Um, and as I've done more, and as I've seen more and more breakdowns and gotten more and more auditions, and just like kind of like the overall themes of what verticals have, there are a lot of themes that I stay away from. I really try to avoid any active villain roles just because I don't agree with a lot of the inherent misogynistic dialogue that they say. Um, if there's anything that really has like crazy amounts of like sexual assault, or if like they want me to portray a character that does that, like I won't do it. Um, it's to me, it doesn't feel like verticals are the space for that. That you need a lot of like care to deal with like such delicate topics, um, and time to do it the right way. And a 7 day shoot, if you're lucky, is not enough time to do that, and a 2 minute episode of something is not, you know, uh, not a long enough format, I think, to deal with something that actively heavy. So like at this point in my career, I try to actively avoid like villain roles or anything that has that. Unfortunately, a lot of times with verticals, you don't get a script until 24 hours ahead of time. You might get audition sides for something and be like, oh yeah, this is pretty good. Yeah, this villain doesn't have all that, you know, not super evil stuff going on. And then you commit to a project and you get the full script the night before shooting and you read it and you start to see stuff that you just don't want to do or you don't morally agree with. And then you've got to figure out a way of like, okay, when I'm on set tomorrow, who do I talk to either take some of these lines out, or, if I'm going to show up on set and not say any of the dialogue that they've given me, because I've done that before too. Just been like, I'm not saying any of these words. And yeah, you know, luckily in that situation, the producer was a good friend, and had all of the faith in the world with me to figure out new dialogue, uh, and allowed me to do that. But yeah, so I don't know, just anything that's overtly heavy, I try to avoid. Although the last project I just did was probably the heaviest project I've done thus far, which was pretty intense. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. I think going forward, I want to just do some more like fun rom-coms, or you know, just more genre stuff rather than just like the standard, oh, I'm a billionaire and,
I used to be just in it for like the billionaires, but now I'm over it.
yeah, I really wanted to do more werewolf stuff when it like
What?
first started popping off. And that was I did one werewolf project, and I was the bad guy in that. And that was one where I got the script the morning of. Like I showed up on set the first day and they had emailed me the script then. And I was very good friends with the with the casting director and the producer. And they hit me up and they were like, "Hey, we want to just offer you this part. Do you want to do it? It's a werewolf one." And I was like, "Yes." And I just jumped at it. I was just like, "Yes, finally a werewolf one." So I showed up, found out I was the bad guy, and I was like, "Oh no." And then started reading the dialogue and I was like, "Oh, I can't say any of this." And they were like, "Ah, it's fine. Just make it work." And I was like, "I got you." And yeah. I mean, it was taking the words that were there and just changing them so they weren't so inherently messed up, or I think 98% of my lines were to the female lead and started with the B word And I was just like, yep, not going to say that. So it was, just taking, just, I can say hi to somebody without calling them that. Like it doesn't, like, why is that in the line? Let's just remove it. And they were more than happy to have that taken out. So, they're a great group to work for.
I'm glad they were like flexible with that.
Yeah, yeah, they were like, yeah, no, please take all of that out. I was like, cool, fantastic. We can we can be a bad guy and not be a complete misogynist.
What do you hope people feel when they watch your work?
Oh gosh. Um, joy. I think I want people to feel just as if they, I don't know, escaped their lives for the 2 minutes or the hour and a half or whatever it is that you're watching, whatever struggles or sorrows or hardships they're going through in life, that they have some kind of escape when they either read a book or listen to some music or watch a TV show or movie. And if verticals are that escape for people, I hope that they just have some semblance of peace and joy as they're watching them. And, you know, also believability that they're just not like, oh, that guy's a terrible actor, but they, you know,
No, well, you have given me that sort of escape. So thank you.
oh, well, thank you for saying that. I'm glad. Life is tough, you know.
Adulting is hard.
It is. It is the hardest thing, and they don't teach us how to handle it.
What keeps you going in the vertical industry, even on hard days?
Oh gosh, what does keep me going? Um, the other actors in the scene are just awesome people, and they're a blast to work with. There are some really great people that I've been able to meet on set, and that we're like a weird little family. Like even if you've never worked with somebody or met somebody, like you kind of know who they are because they've worked with another close friend of yours. And so everybody's kind of popping up on each other's socials. And there's like vertical mixers that are had. And, people will throw birthday parties and invite people who invite people. And, you end up going out with. So it's kind of like this weird little family in one sense, which is really, really nice. And then, I think the other thing is just kind of like a hope that there is growth in this industry, both in the quality of the scripts and production and stuff, and because it's an interesting format. And I think it's proven that people are willing to watch things in smaller chunks. Like we already knew that people would sit down with Netflix or Hulu or Amazon or Disney Plus and binge watch a TV show that's dropped all at once. But it was like, are people willing to watch a 2 minute episode and then continue watching 50 of them? And I think that, people do. People want to do that. They want to watch that. And so I'm hopeful for the growth of where not the genre, like the soap opera genre aspect of it, but the technical format of it. I'm very curious to see where that goes and how it grows and how that bleeds into other genres, whether it's like a spy thriller or superhero stuff or like a big sci-fi epic, and just kind of seeing how the vertical format changes to adapt different stories, and the quality gets better. I mean, if you watch them, just like the earlier ones to the ones now, you can see a massive jump in quality for for the production.
Even like the violence and the sexual, like sexual assault has just gotten way too much, and it's just, it's very frustrating. Mm.
Yeah, it is. But there are ones coming out where we're not seeing that, which is nice. And people like you, and there's a couple of other accounts, fan accounts that you have on Instagram, uh, who are kind of like leading the charge, saying that we don't want to see that stuff anymore, or these are the things that we do want to see. And it's giving a nice voice and a soapbox for just different stories to be told, and for the quality to get better. And when that happens, it's everything then gets better. Like the actors, all of our acting gets better. The costumes, all the wardrobe gets better. Like everything gets better when one thing gets elevated. I think everybody's saying it at this point. I mean, there's a very loud voice on social media of a lot of actors and fans and writers and other creatives who we just want more. We want more options. We want more choice. Like I'm happy to tell a fun, rom-com story about a billionaire meeting somebody for the 50th time. Like, sure, if people want to watch it, I'm happy to do it. But, I think that there's other options that people want to see, especially when it comes to like the heavier stuff. I think we're kind of past that.
Yeah. I want to see more like realistic
Just
things.
like any of the Hallmark or the Lifetime Christmas movies, that's why those have been successful for so long, because it does appeal to a more common denominator in that, like, not everybody's going to bump into a billionaire getting off an airplane, you know, and then fall in love, or not everybody has a sister that needs a lung transplant and the hospital won't do the surgery unless you prepay for the surgery. That's not how healthcare works in any capacity. They'll do the surgery and then you'll just be in debt for the rest of you know what I mean? So I agree. Like, it's more realism would be nice, because I think it's, while the high fantasy of, marrying a billionaire CEO werewolf or vampire is fun, you know, we can expand.
Even if you just add like a little touch here and there,
Yeah. Yeah.
it would be better.
Just little things.
Just a little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Creatively speaking, what do verticals offer you?
I think that they offer a really neat challenge. Um, I mean, gosh, when I hear other vertical actors talk about like their days on set and how many pages they're doing, and they're doing like 15 or 16 pages, I'm like, oh, that must be nice, because I've been doing 20 and 30 and 40 page days, which is just absurd. So yeah, I think just like the challenge of showing up and knowing that much dialogue and being able to nail a day, in 12 hours or 14 hours, whatever the day may be. Um, like that's, I think, the fun challenge. And, you know, I've had a lot of days where you don't even get a full 8 hour turnaround. It's like maybe 3 hours of sleep and then you're back on set again. And figuring out, how do I show up, you know, with lack of sleep, fatigued, drained emotionally, mentally, physically, and still deliver a performance that's both authentic and believable and serves the scene. And how do I remember 20 pages of dialogue? You know what I mean? So that's, for me, I think, the fun and the challenge. And it keeps me coming back, because it's like, yeah, how far can I push myself to complete to do this thing? And I don't want to keep pushing myself. I don't want to be doing 20, 30, 40 page days, because it's rough, and certainly 14, 16, 18 hour days are not the norm, and they're not for most, bigger Hollywood productions or anything like that. Um, they certainly are for like indie films or verticals, but it's grand scheme of things, like in the long run, it's not super healthy, but it's fun for now. And yeah, I don't know. I think, that make sense?
Yeah.
Was it
It would
cohesive, or did I just ramble?
no, no. Like it would take a massive toll on you though.
It does, yeah. It definitely gets you after a while. But like, seeing how much dialogue you can memorize is, it's a fun challenge. Uh, it's not the best challenge, but it's a fun challenge.
So that's a lot of talking.
It's a lot.
What is your biggest fear as an actor?
Oh man. Um, Sucking. I think just being bad. I think just being a garbage actor is my biggest fear. Um, yeah, not connecting with the work and not being able to give a performance that serves the story, you know? Um, it's one thing if you get cast in something that you're wrong for and you get fired, like I would never want to be I wouldn't care if I got cast in a show or a movie and they were like, after a day of filming, they were like, "Hey, you're actually not the right guy. We're gonna let you go." But if I know in my heart I was the right person for the job and I wasn't able to deliver, I think that is probably my biggest fear, that I just would get in my head over something or just not be able, I don't know, not knowing my lines, like just not being prepared and then thus not able to deliver, I think is my biggest fear as an actor. It's a weird job, it's weird to even like say it's a job, but truthfully, and I'm sure you've had other actors on who have said this, but it's hard work. Like it takes a toll on you physically and emotionally. And I've had an office job. I've taught. I've been a professional musician where, my job is to write music and then play it live for people. I've been a freelance graphic designer for the last 20 years, and uh, I've worked retail, in a stock room. And I think out of all of those jobs, like they all, take a toll on you, whether it's emotionally or physically or mentally or whatever. But acting is truly, it's all of the above, and I do think anybody could do it with enough, time or training. It's kind of like drawing a picture. Like if you can't, draw a picture of an apple, you could learn to do it. You just got to get comfortable with yourself and your body and figure out how things move, and that's, you know,
Best I can
I,
do it with a stick figure.
I promise you, if you took some drawing classes for like 3 months, you could draw pretty good.
Probably not.
I promise you, you could.
My attention span is that of a goldfish. Like,
Sometimes when I have a buddy that I do graphic design stuff for every now and again for his music project. He'll be like, "Hey, I need new album art or like a new merch design." And I'll be like, "Yeah, sure. What's your idea?" And he'll pitch me something and I'll do it. And I get really, really excited for it. And if I can't get it done quickly within like an hour or an hour and a half, like if I can't just like knock it out and get it done, then I get bored with it. And then I really struggle to find like that drive to like go back and work on it and finish it for him. And then it'll result in him being like, "Hey man, it's been a week. Where's that? Where's that art for me?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, my bad. I'll finish it." And then, I'll sit down and knock the rest of it out. But
that's like whatever I start, I don't finish. It's,
it can be tough sometimes.
I think yeah. I got so
Yeah.
many passion projects. I think this is the one that I've stuck to the longest.
Well, it's an awesome passion project. And, thanks for doing it.
Well, I'm curious to see and hear everyone's experiences of like how they got to where they are
Yeah.
and what not makes them tick, but why they put in what they put in.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I listen to a lot of like Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend and Inside of You with Michael Rosenbaum and then Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard and Monica Padman. And all of the episodes that they have on those podcasts where they're talking with actors, and just I love hearing just little nuggets and bits and pieces of behind the scenes stuff or how they got their start or like the one project that really got them into acting or whatever performance or book or play that it was, and yeah, I don't know. So I get it. Like I love hearing what makes people tick and the authentic conversations they have about the industry and their hopes and dreams for it and what they've accomplished or haven't yet.
That's why I didn't want to ask like the general question that everyone gets asked. Like I know I'm doing a lot of like first time like vertical interviews with heaps of you guys, but like they all see like I'm not saying they're generic interviews. I wanted to make it like unique and ask questions that, would make you like think. All right, this is a get to know you.
Cool.
Favorite animal?
Ooh, bat.
I already know the answer to this one. Cat or dog person?
Yeah, dog.
Favorite food?
Ooh. There's a chili dog restaurant in Ohio called Skyline Chili, and they have the greatest like chili cheese hot dogs ever. And if I could eat those every single day for the rest of my life, I would, because they're just incredible. So yeah, chili cheese dog.
Favorite color?
Orange.
Dream country to visit?
Ooh. I'm gonna say something that's gonna make you mad. New Zealand.
Why? We're so much more chill.
I don't my wife went and got to explore and she loved it. She, got to go to Hobbiton and everything and she was just like, yeah, it's a really beautiful country. You should go. And I was like, well, we should go. I don't know why you're trying to send me there by myself. So yeah, I want to go check out New Zealand and yeah, just explore.
I'll give you that only because your wife said it.
Fair. I'll take it.
Favorite season?
Ooh. Hmm. I like them all. I don't have a favorite. I think they all have like different things that kind of play into my personality. Like summertime, I love to, float in the pool or a lazy river. Big fan of a lazy river and just chilling with friends. So I love the summertime for that. The extended daylight hours. The wintertime, I love to snowboard. The fall, I love to listen to like emo music and, you know, walk down the streets and wear a flannel. And yeah, springtime, just the renewal that comes with it. So all of them. I don't think I could pick a favorite. Gun to my head, I'd say maybe the fall.
Sorry, everyone who picks fall. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, there's something about the fall, leaves changing colors, which doesn't happen in LA, but I'm from the East Coast, so I grew up with it.
Mm.
So getting to see, yeah, yeah, you know, yeah, the fall.
Favorite actor?
Oh gosh, favorite actor, Michael Keaton. He's Batman. I'm gonna say Michael Keaton. Close second is Tom Hanks, but Michael Keaton's number one.
Tom Hanks. Mm. Brilliant actor.
He is brilliant. Yeah,
All of his work.
love him.
Mm. Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? Batman, the first one with Michael Keaton.
Favorite music genre?
Pop punk. So bands like Blink 182 or Newfound Glory, um, Alkaline Trio, Yellow Card. Uh, yeah.
Favorite singer and song?
Favorite singer and song. Um, my favorite song is Eleanor Rigby by the Beatles. And my favorite singer is he's in a band, but he also does solo stuff. His name is Dustin Kensrue, and he's in a band called Thrice. They're from Southern California, and he just has this incredibly gritty, soulful voice that I just love.
Hmm. City life or country life?
City, easy. I like steel and concrete, glass, you know. Spiders creep me out. Not about that life. There's too many spiders in the country.
Oh God. Biggest pet peeve?
Mm, biggest pet peeve. People that don't write there versus they are with the apostrophe correctly. Yeah, I think that's my biggest pet peeve.
You know, there's three different types of there.
Yeah, there, and there.
They're all so annoying, especially when some. I don't even, I'm gonna rant here. No, stop. Okay, nope.
Feel free to rant.
No, I will be here for a while. Oh, name three things you can't live without.
Three things I can't live without. My wife, my dog, and a guitar.
Describe yourself in 5 words or less, or in one sentence.
Oh, okay. I had somebody tell me once that I was the living embodiment of Pacific Cooler Capri Sun. And I don't know if that was an insult, but I liked it. So, yeah, I guess I would describe myself as Pacific Cooler Capri Sun. How many words is that? I don't know. I don't do numbers.
Oh, that was three.
Okay.
All right.
I am Pacific Cooler Capri Sun. Is that five?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right. Would you rather, categories edition,
Okay.
would you rather play the mysterious lover or open book boyfriend?
In a vertical or real life?
Probably a vertical.
In a vertical. Okay. Uh, in my real life, I'm kind of like the open book. So I think playing the mysterious lover would be fun.
Friends to lovers or enemies to lovers?
Ooh. Depends on the kind of enemies. If it's like real enemies, then no. But yeah, I think enemies to lovers is always more fun. If it's like playful enemies, if it's like Tom and Jerry enemies, you know what I mean? Not like I'm actually going to ruin your life enemies. And I have no interest in that.
Completely, I understand. Rich CEO or struggling artist?
Struggling artist. I think that's a more realistic character. It's more fun to play. It's more truthful, to at least my life and who I am. Um, Rich CEOs have it easy. There's not a whole lot to struggle with. So I think, yeah, playing the struggling artist is more fun, more depth, more nuance.
Protective alpha or sensitive soul?
Both? Or do I have to pick one? I feel like if you're a true protective alpha, you should have a sensitive soul.
You could,
Otherwise, you're kind of just a bully.
yeah, true. True. Hmm. Love triangle drama or devoted single love interest?
Oh, love triangle for sure. That's way more fun.
I agree.
Yeah.
Forbidden romance or fairy tale love story?
Fairy tale love story for sure.
Playing the one who gets the girl or the heartbreaker?
Hmm. I guess it depends on the script. It's always fun to get the girl though, right? Nobody wants to break anyone's heart intentionally. At least I don't. It happens, but uh yeah, get the guy that gets the girl. I think that's more fun.
Happy ending romance or bittersweet love story?
Ooh, I do kind of like a bittersweet love story. It just feels more realistic.
First love forever or second chance romance?
First love forever.
Redemption or revenge?
Hmm. Depends on who's getting the revenge. Uh, I would hope that the characters I play, if I've played anyone that needed redemption, gets it. I've certainly played some characters that revenge should be taken on. I like to see when the female lead gets her revenge, though, you know, and when somebody really gets a good comeuppance.
'Cause, they do need it.
Yeah.
Right. This one's like a quick this or that.
Okay.
Shirtless scenes or suit and tie scenes?
Suit and tie.
Method acting or natural instinct?
Natural instinct.
Indie film passion projects or blockbuster films?
Passion projects. That was a tough one. That's really hard to be quick with. Because I love comic book movies so much and I just want to be in them, but like I'm legitimately a comic book nerd. Like I grew up reading them. And now that comic book movies are like the big blockbuster thing, it's like I remember when these were the indie things like Teenage
Yeah.
Mutant Ninja Turtles, you know? These were
Yeah.
very small budget films and now they're huge. So it's like I want to do those a lot because I love the stories.
Mhm.
Uh, but I think it's very important as an actor, as an artist, to do things that you're passionate about and love.
Intuitive approach or character research deep dives?
Hmm. Intuitive approach. I think the deep dive kind of comes with like that with your intuition. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like
Yeah.
one kind of breeds the other.
Emotionally vulnerable roles or strong silent type roles?
Emotionally vulnerable.
And last one, night shoots or early morning shoots?
Hmm. Early morning shoots. Yeah, I think early morning shoots, if you can get wrapped early enough to get home and still have a little bit of the day. If it's a night shoot though, and you have the whole day to like go to the gym or like hang out or whatever, like that's really nice. But if you can get an early morning shoot and then just you're good to have the rest of the day, get home, have a nice dinner, go over your lines for the next day, like I'll take that. Like, you know.
I would just like to say a massive thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. This has been incredibly insightful, and I really, really enjoyed getting to know you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I had a blast and let's do this again.
100%.
Yeah.
6 months, book it in.